right, ahoy. It is Critical Mess. It is episode 20. We are in our 20s, guys. This is the podcast where some friends in the ad business rap about movies that critics and audiences do not agree on. I am Nick Honeywell. I'm here with Grizz Griswold and Brian McCullough. Producer Ben is here as well. Say what's up, gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, this is Brian McCullough, and I did some soul searching, and I'm doubling down on my stance on Brad Pitt. I think he falls flat in traditional dramatic roles, and he shines in quirky comedic roles.
Wow.
Okay.
Producer Ben.
Great revelation.
Okay. That leads to our icebreaker, I suppose. This is a no prep icebreaker, so just go with your gut on this one, guys. The one that, you know, the answer that just comes to you first. But the question is, which actor or actress do you think would secretly be just a really cool person to hang out with? And this has nothing to do with like how hot they are, right, or anything like that. And you also may not choose Keanu Reeves because everyone knows he's the coolest already.
Yeah, good call.
So, who would you think would just be a cool actor or actress to hang out with sometime?
Can I answer a male and female?
Sure.
Yes, I can. Shia LaBeouf as the dude, and Charlize Theron as the chick.
Nice. I like those. I think Charlize Theron's great. Is it that Between Two Ferns performance was really pretty? It just made her seem super cool.
What did it for me was her Hot Ones episode, but also, yes, Between Two Ferns, she was great as well.
Yeah. Grizz?
That's a great pick.
Thanks.
Shia LaBeouf is really good.
Thanks,
No, he
Chris.
seems like he'd be a wild card. You'd,
Actually-
you'd get some drinks. You might do a little blow.
And have you seen his Hot Ones episode?
I have.
Oh, it's amazing.
I have. Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. We get into it.
Yeah.
It would be
something wild would happen
Yeah.
with old Shia. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He is.
I got to
Chris?
go a hard vote for Bill Hader. I feel like he would be an outrageously good hang.
He'd be so entertaining.
Yeah. His stories, like everything about,
Yeah, I'm going comedian too. I'm a little torn. I think my first inclination was to go with Dave Chappelle. I just feel like he would just be fun to hang out with because he's the funniest fucking guy alive, and he just, you know, it's just he's just he smokes a lot of weed, and he doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't give a fuck, which is why he's awesome. And a little foreshadowing for 2 episodes from now.
Perhaps.
Ooh,
Perhaps Dave might be involved. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, good. Glad we broke the ice here tonight. Ben, did you want to give an answer on this icebreaker?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay.
You should have been ready with
Keep
the
moving.
I was
the
not
cricket
prepared.
sound effect.
Yeah, no, that's
I know.
all right. That's all right.
No,
Have your crickets on tap, Ben.
Okay, so before we get into tonight's movie, just a quick spoiler warning. We'll be spoiling the movie, talking a lot about the movie, so if you haven't seen the movie. In fact, I think this is a good time to note, we always really recommend watching the film before you listen to the episode. I think you'll have a lot more fun with it. You'll just be tracking a lot better with what we're talking about, rather than, you know, if you saw it 10 or 15 years ago. So just a small note for the listener there.
I mean, it's a smaller time commitment, frankly, than listening to the episode itself, usually.
Right, so you would think, yeah, it is good to freshen up. Anyway, so we will be spoiling this movie, but we are talking about a movie from 2006. We've been on a bit of a horror binge. I think this movie is kind of action horror. Is that
Action
sound
thriller
okay?
with
Yeah.
a little side of horror.
Yeah, sure. It stars Samuel L. Jackson, Julianne Margulies, Nathan Phillips, Bobby Cannavale, Kenan Thompson, Todd Luiso, a bunch of people you probably haven't heard of, more or less, except for Samuel L. Kenan Thompson, I guess, is pretty famous these days. It was directed by David R. Ellis. Cost about $33 million to make, grossed about $62 million worldwide. So moderate success, not a immediate success, though. It kind of gained a little traction over time. Very quick refresher about the criteria for the movies we talk about on this show. Got to be fresh with audiences and rotten with critics, or vice versa on Rotten Tomatoes, and that disparity needs to be at least 20% or so. This particular film, which I haven't even named yet. Did I even say the name of the movie yet? I don't think I did.
No.
It was it's such a great name. I think it's one of the best titles for a film really ever. And that movie is Snakes on a Plane. So Snakes on a Plane got a fairly solid 69% with critics.
Nice.
Yeah, which is a little. Yeah, that's a little surprising. That's a little surprising. I'm always surprised by those critics. And a somewhat whack 49% with audiences. So we've got a 20% disparity on the dot. So not a huge one, but definitely meets our criteria.
And we've got a huge critical mess on our hands tonight, guys, because the out of 10 ratings just blow that away. The out of 10 critics is 6.2, and audience is 6.4.
Wow.
So the
very interesting.
average rating is higher for the audience and critics, and yet there's a 20-point disparity the other way around. So it's a crazy night.
That's whack. Tell us what that means, Brian.
Well, I think that means that the audience is more polarized. I'd say the audience, the people who loved it, and most people just thought it was whatever for that to happen. So let's put it this way. There's way more 5-star reviews than 1-star reviews is what that means.
Yep.
It's like there's tons of 5 stars and a bunch of 2.5s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you got middling to love. And we'll get into why that is, because I think a lot of it's because of the name and the internet buzz and that kind of thing, the anticipation. But
yeah, that is interesting.
But I do think that with critics, it's about the same. 69, 6.2, that's pretty standard.
Yep. Okay, so this is generally the point in the show where we thank our sponsor. And tonight, we're pretty much just sponsored by Pacifico Clara, the Mexican cerveza, in a can, which I think is very important. Just tastes better in a can to me. I don't know if that's just me or.
I think it's just you. I'm a bottle guy myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like a can. So it's so much less hassle. You just pop it open, crush it.
Practically.
You don't have
Way
a garbage
smarter.
bag full of clinkety clackety bottles everywhere.
The only thing I like in a bottle is High Life, and that's it.
Classy.
Yeah.
Classy. Anyways, thank you to Pacifico. You are fueling our fire tonight. All right, so this is the point in the show where we talk about what do we talk about now? It's where we talk about our first exposure to this film. How many times we've seen it over the years? When did we see it? Let's get into that a little bit, guys. When did you first see this film, and how many times have you seen it?
1 week ago was the first time I ever saw this film. So brand new to it. I watched it once.
You have a lot longer history with this movie than I do, because I watched it 2 days ago.
Oh,
for the
shit.
first time.
Okay, perfect.
So, and just that once.
Wow. Okay, I saw it in the theater.
It's so funny. Like, there's so many of these movies. Nick's like never saw it in the theater, and then this he's like, oh yeah, in the theater.
Yeah, I've seen lots of shit in the
16
theater.
times.
Anything
Opening
that came
weekend.
out like around this, in that kind of period between like 1996 and like 2008, I saw a lot of random shit.
Yeah.
A lot of random shit. Okay, so so and then I saw it again last night. I've seen it just those 2 times. So let's go ahead and rate this thing, guys. Last time we did this, we had a dead ringer, right? We had an equal
Yep.
rating.
That won't happen
Will
again, I don't
lightning strike twice?
You guys were both in the
Tonight.
69 Club together.
The Mile High Club.
you feel real proud of yourself with that little joke, don't you?
Could have been way more clever, but I had 3 seconds to think of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we salute you, sir.
I'm going with a 40. 40 out of 100 snakes
40.
on a plane. 40. It's straight even 40.
40.
2 out of 5 stars.
I really thought you were going to love this.
You did?
Yeah, no.
I didn't hate it.
Didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. It got a little bit. I started out. I'm like, this is terrible. There's no way this is going to be good. And then it, ever so slightly, if it was like a graph, just the line would just be trending north, just about 3 degrees. And by the end of the film, okay, that
Yeah.
wasn't terrible.
Nope, not for me. This gets a 17 out of 100. That might be the lowest.
Savage.
That might be
Eviscerated
the
this
lowest
movie.
score I'll ever give a movie. But yeah, this was a dumpster fire. Just pure shit.
I love the strength of your opinion.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be strong tonight for sure.
Give it to me, baby.
Hot,
Yeah.
hot. Can we get that race car effect?
Wait, you mean? Oh,
I don't know.
I thought you did the air horn effect with your mouth.
No, well, whatever.
Gee, I thought that was an air horn.
Whatever's appropriate, guys. Okay, well, gosh, I guess I'm coming in with the high score here with a 52.
Oh boy.
I mean, I had some fun with it. I thought it was stupid. Yeah.
That right there, you'll be surprised how many audience reviews mirror that exact sentiment. I had some fun with it. I thought it was stupid.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that settles that then. So certainly none of us loved it, and one of us is really taking it to the cleaners. So I wanna talk about before we get into those kind of reasons more specifically. Let's talk a little bit about critics and audiences and why they may not agree so much on this film. And it's not the biggest disparity in the world, but and Brian, you did have that interesting note at the beginning of the show. When you kind of interpret the reviews in a different way, they actually are probably much closer. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, there's certainly some disagreement there. So let's talk a little bit about why that is.
I still think we should talk about this in the context of the percentage, not the average out of 10. Yeah. So I did make that note, but I still think the 69 critic, 49 audience is how we should frame sort of this conversation. Critics liked it more than audience. You can argue, I've seen people argue for days on which was more accurate and the pitfalls of Rotten Tomatoes. We all know this, but let's just go ahead and use those percentage metrics. The critic reviews synopsis. Snakes on a Plane lives up to its title, featuring snakes on a plane. It isn't perfect, but then again, it doesn't need to be. Got some problems with that. That's the synopsis, though, so we can't blame any specific person for that because we don't know who wrote it. Now let's blame some specific people for what they said. Richard Roper, Chicago Sun-Times. Without that title and a year's worth of internet-fueled buzz, this would be just another forgettable, mildly entertaining mid-August throwaway movie. That's interesting because that kind of touches on the internet. I think this was in a time when the internet was starting to become, much more used. This is what, mid-2000s?
The power of the internet was starting to be real. The power of marketing on the internet was starting to be truly, harnessed.
And I think this was one of the first, fully internet-fueled movies as far as, drumming up interest.
And it was because, we're going to get into this more, but a lot of it, I think, was because of the kind of the back and forth that the production did with the world or the people that wanted to give input, which was a completely crazy novel thing at the time.
And I credit that, at least just the novelty of that. I think that's interesting. And I think they even changed the name of the movie because.
Well, I think there's we'll talk about that.
We'll get into that, but I wanted to read that one from Richard Roper because I think that he's not necessarily. I mean, he's saying it's forgettable. He's saying it's mildly entertaining. I would agree with that, but he is saying that a lot of the success came from the internet and the title specifically. And I think you're right when you hit on that title, "Snakes on a Plane." I mean, it's either the worst name in the world or the best name in the world. Probably the latter. J.R. Jones, Chicago Reader. The plot is ridiculous and the characters are cardboard, but none of that really matters once the snakes get into the fuselage and start zapping people. The very definition of entertainment. My reaction to this is, he says, a ridiculous plot and cardboard characters. How is that not going to apply to how you rate the movie? Because he gave it a good rating.
What did he give it?
I actually didn't know what the critics rated because it's kind of all over the place because it's kind of distilled from their own sites. But he was a fresh rating, and he comes out of the gate saying the plot is ridiculous and the characters are cardboard. I'm sorry, but
well, I guess, but my answer to that would be expectations. Probably he probably expected that. And still had fun with it.
But I feel like he's excusing that from his.
I mean, there may be a fundamental problem with doing that, though. I understand.
Yeah, Brian, I think you do see the massive I don't. It's so hard because you can't encapsulate. I don't know if there's a limit on some of these ratings, but you do try to encapsulate your entire rating based on what maybe one or two sentences tops.
Yeah.
So I think it's almost impossible to do that, to go through the itemized list of things that you love and hate about it to get to where your rating is. I don't know. That's always tough for me to read a review and then look at the rating and be like, that's way off from what they're saying. But unless it's blatant, where you're like, okay, this guy has no idea what he's talking about.
Let me ask you guys this real quick, a little aside here. If you watched a movie and then you went and rated it like a 1 star out of 5, would that be a sign that you'd probably never revisit the movie?
Not necessarily.
Yeah,
no.
not for me either.
Not necessarily. No.
I get the feeling that a lot of people are afraid to give a movie a low rating because they're telling themselves, I'm never going to watch this movie again. And it's almost like people rate it based on how likely they are to rewatch it. And that's a problem.
It's interesting.
That's a problem. And I've noticed that in some of the audience reviews. And I just think people are too afraid. Oh, I'm going to give this a 1 out of 5. That means I'm never going to watch it again. No, it just means you're recognizing I like the movie. It's just not a good movie.
One thing I like about Letterboxd is like you can add your 5-star rating, but also like it. So like they're like Cats, for instance.
Yeah.
1 star for sure.
Uh-huh.
But I love it and I think it's hilarious, so I liked it.
That's
So,
interesting.
like-
So they give
Yeah.
you the enjoyability
Yeah.
versus the critic.
Right.
That's
fun.
It is a nice
like
little.
that.
I
Is
do
it a
like that.
star or is it a
It's a
heart?
heart,
It's a heart.
yeah.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
So like you can say I liked it,
Yeah.
but also it's trash.
It's
So,
like basically you can kind of scroll through anything you've hearted and you go, these are movies that I enjoy, but
Yeah.
you're not putting it out there to the world that this is a 10-star movie or
Right.
whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
yeah, they got it figured out.
Who are we sponsored by tonight, Nick?
We're brought to you tonight by
Listen to that copy.
Pacifico Clara in a can.
The fact that we aren't sponsored by now is ridiculous.
I know, it's sad.
I'm working on it, guys, as hard as I can.
All right, Randy Cardova, Arizona Republic. The movie is aware of its cheesiness. One reason it works so well. It's an exploitation flick that knows what it wants to do, and it gets the job done expertly. My reaction to that is it aware of its cheesiness?
No,
I think the movie takes itself too seriously.
absolutely.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that.
It's a strong disagree on my part for Grizz.
Okay.
I think tonally, well, once again, I think we'll get into this a little bit more. Tonally, this movie's complicated.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. And a lot of these things I'm bringing up, it's sort of like, all right, we're setting this up, putting a pin in it. We're going to come back to it. But it's I'm kind of trying to find all the different facets to this turd of a jewel. Michael Booth, Denver Post. Whether Snakes on a Plane means to be bad or is just bad by being its own bad self, the truth is it's so bad that it's pretty good. And here's, you guys, I'm sorry, but I hate the phrase, it's so bad it's good. I think we as a society have accepted this nonsensical phrase to actually mean something. How can something be so bad that it's critically good? I'm sorry, but I can't abide.
I mean, The Room is bad, but for some reason people keep watching it.
I would say The Room is so bad it's like a train wreck. You can't look away. But that doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah, Fair.
Yeah.
am
So
I-
you're saying that they're rating it highly because it was so bad it was good?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's a thing that exists. People, it's almost so bad it's good. It's like, no, that's stupid.
You're
Yeah,
talking
it's-
about from a critical perspective,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I
Yes.
understand your point because we just have to remember, there's just a difference between critical and how much fun you had with it.
It'd be like saying somebody is so cringy that, you start to laugh at them instead of with them. But it'd be like saying somebody's so cringy that they're funny. It's like, no. They're not funny. It's funny to laugh at them. You have to distinguish. And words are important, people.
Words matter.
I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you know that, Nick, but words are important.
What word are you saying there?
I don't know.
Word?
I don't know what you do for a living, but words are important.
Word?
A couple more. Tom Long, Detroit News. It is a great cheese ball of silliness, a B movie that has enough sense to embrace its B-ness and then squeeze like a boa constrictor. It is intentionally, sublimely ridiculous from beginning to end. And I guess I had a thought there, and we can come back to this, but the fact that this is a B movie shouldn't elevate the critical score you give it.
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah. Thanks for validating.
No.
Yeah.
You guys want to sit a little closer tonight?
You want to come over here?
I
Bobby?
might sit right on your lap.
Brian's Corner's open all night.
Brian's
you know?
corner's open in the basement. Yeah, we're ready.
Next corner closes at 9 p.m.
All right,
Yeah.
the last one. James Berardinelli, Real Views. This is the one that just I vibed with it. Samuel L. Jackson is on record as saying this movie isn't for critics. He's right about that. The problem is, it's not for many other people either, unless they're stoned or drunk, or just enjoy making fun of bad movies. And that's accurate.
And he just described 94% of the population.
Uh-huh. At least the people who watch this movie. But yeah, I think, and I just want to come back to that. It's a big deal if you say this movie is not for critics. Like, if you stop and think about what that means, every movie should be for critics because critics, the idea of a critic is just somebody that's looking at something and saying, how good of a thing is this? I mean, that's all critics are as a baseline. And if you put out a creative work into the world, and you say, this is not for people who want to look and see how good this creative work is, what the fuck are you doing? So I think I love Samuel L. Jackson, and I think he was covering his butt and covering his bases by saying that, but I have a huge problem with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that, I typically am with the audiences on a lot of movies or films, and I think it is hard. I don't think you should go out to make a movie specifically for audiences, but I think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of industries do that. I think a lot of studios do it. I think a lot of directors, young directors do that. They make it because they love it, or they know that there's going to be a small audience that will love it. They don't necessarily, I don't think anybody makes a piece of art with the end result being the person at the end, unless you're a chef and you're making it specifically for a food critic. That seems very specific. Mm-hmm. But for film or TV or movies, I think, especially at like the beginner stage or the new directors and writers and stuff like that, I think it's hard for me to grasp that idea, at least for me. I don't know. I think because you can make it for audiences. You should make it for a group of people or a type of person. You should make it for the masses. You shouldn't make it for people to review it.
Can I just say one clarifying statement, and then I just want to make sure I'm coming off correctly. I think it's totally fine to make a movie for audiences and not for critics. What I can't abide is making that movie and then rating it highly. Just make your movie for audiences and don't. It doesn't need to be rated highly. I'm only talking about how you rate a movie, not why you make a movie. Sure, Michael Bay, make movies that are entertaining and fun. But if people are rating that movie 5 out of 5,
I got you. Okay,
for the wrong reasons, and now it's like being compared to like Shawshank Redemption, like that's just not fair, you know?
Yeah, that's tough.
So,
I think
there you go.
That's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like we were just saying, like there's in Letterboxd you have the ratings, and then you have the like or dislike kind of option there. I think that's where you're going to get a little bit more specific with apps that become, I don't know, is Rotten Tomatoes going to be around forever? I don't know. Is Letterboxd going to be the new thing? I feel like it's pretty big now.
In terms of this podcast, I hope
right
that
now.
they are.
What are you distracted by? Just for our listeners,
Scene in the movie.
we turn on all the movies in the background and just leave it on silent. So we every so often we may just reference a random scene.
We typically like to contextualize.
And it's the sex scene.
All right.
in the
Nick, I've talked a lot, but I feel like I've said my piece, and so
Thank
now
God.
you can react.
I kid. No, I have one little thing to say about that, and just one little thing, and that's that. You know, how many of these critics I feel like rated this movie highly just kind of out of spite or just to sort of be ironic, right? Because you know they know this movie isn't made for them, and they say, "Well, fuck you, I'm gonna like it anyway." You know.
I was kind of wondering if there was a contrarian nature to like some of these highbrow critics,
'cause-
like just to surprise everyone and rate it highly just because.
Right, yeah, because isn't it ironic that like Samuel L. Jackson says it's not for critics, and yet here we are talking about it's got the high critic score, and the low audience score. I mean, that's just is ironic.
I think there's something to that potentially.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's shocking that it is not the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is. This is Critical Mess. We were talking about snakes on a plane, which may or may not be the best title for a film ever. I think the next thing we need to talk about here, fellas, is I can't wait for this. Actually, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna flip the script. I think that's what we do right now. And you know what? I shot this one right down the middle. I mean, 52. I don't really have a whole lot of flipping to do, but I'm curious to hear what you guys liked about this movie.
Well, since I had the lowest score, I'll go first. It's 17 out of 100. Two things out of that 17. I think 15% goes to Samuel L. Jackson just because of the single line that he says about these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane or whatever. You know, it's just that was the iconic line that was on repeat.
Classic.
And I think the 15% goes straight to him. The other 2% goes to the pilot played by David Koechner. And for some reason, I thought he was hilarious. And just a couple of weird scenes, he just played this awkward, bumbling, pilot. But
he was quite sexist and chauvinistic.
Outrageously. He just played so hard into it. And I just thought it was just like he was the only one that made it funny. and everyone else took it seriously when they did like a joke or a goofball. Like,
Why is he only ever cast in those roles too? Because think about it, he was just coming off of Anchorman here,
Yeah.
and then he was also in The Office, and he was the same character in all 3 of those movies.
yeah.
he just because he just looks like an asshole, but he's probably super awesome.
I wonder,
I'm sure
yeah.
he's such
I
a
bet
sweet
he's a-
teddy bear.
He maybe not be. Actually, maybe he's got. Who knows? I have no opinion on this.
He probably
person.
has like 6 daughters, and he's like the
And
most.
I had to go to the
gentle
Wikipedia
man.
page, and now he's in like he's in like federal supermax prison for some heinous crime.
We should-
I have no idea, sir.
should
You may be a
fact check.
good man or a bad man. I don't know. No judgment. Okay, where were we? We were
Flipping
talking
the
about
script.
things that were flipping here.
But that's all I could really flip on this, other than I don't know. I felt literally nothing. I didn't think it was weird because it was just such a strange action horror thriller comedy. It didn't know what it wanted to be, so I had a really hard time. I think just Samuel L. Jackson in that one scene, and then Keckner just being himself from all those other classics he was in.
I think you had a nugget in there I thought was interesting. It made me feel nothing. I think that's
Yeah.
that plays to your rating.
Yes.
It also made me feel nothing, but I just didn't hate it. It didn't turn me off as many stupid things as were in it. But there were some things that I specifically liked. I really liked the Xanax guy. I don't know who that guy was, but he just
He was
like,
amazing.
he was great.
He was
I
the
wanted to
best
see
character
more
in
of
the
him.
movie.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad I wasn't crazy. I thought the exterior shots of the plane flying through the storm, cool. 5D. They looked
Cool.
good.
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of the CGI was horrendous, and
yeah,
that
it
was
was bad.
decent.
I think the hard part is the sell of like they use the CG snakes so much, and then they would do a practical of a snake, and you're like, oh, that looks nice, and then they would go straight to a CG snake,
Yep.
and it went back and forth.
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson, you guys, he is a professional man. He took his role so seriously. He did exactly. I mean, he deserved his paycheck in this movie. He held it together for me, to be honest. He really held it together.
Can I give? Sorry, just before I forget to say this, I want to give one little tidbit about Samuel L. Jackson that I thought was intriguing. He had it written into his contract that he could be no closer than 25 feet to a live snake throughout the duration of the filming of this movie.
That's for real.
I can respect that.
Yeah. So just a note there.
Okay.
I liked Kenan Thompson. He's my David Koechner. He's who
Oh,
I would
okay. Yeah.
give. And I'm not a huge fan of him, but like I actually liked him. I liked his role. I did not expect to. As soon as I saw him, I'm thinking he's going to be so corny and over the top. But he was a little bit endearing to me. I liked him. And then lastly, I kind of liked how they actually attempted to get into like avionics and like technical details. I don't know if any of them were accurate, but I liked when they were having to go down and flip a circuit breaker or do this or do that and get the manual out and kind of talk about overcorrecting, yada, yada. Like they could have just because the rest of the movie was so dumb that I guess I was just a little bit surprised that they kind of tried there.
Well, can I just say one thing about that though that I find interesting is they completely blew the moment where that would have been most appropriate, where he's landing the fucking plane.
Yeah.
They don't cover any of that.
Yep.
You know, him like, well, here, pull this lever and hit this switch to like land. He just lands, and that's
There's
that.
That
next
would have
guy.
given some nice tension to like
But-
that moment.
Yeah, right.
And I totally agree with you, but I think they could have just played that card the entire movie
Yeah,
and,
sure.
and never gone into it. But they actually did try to here and there. So
Sure.
good job. That's my flip the script. Wasn't terrible.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm not really going to flip it because I really was right down the middle. So I think this is when we can move on to the themes in this movie. So then now I think this is when we can move on to character arcs, and maybe we'll just keep moving.
Yeah. We'll sprinkle a few audience reactions in, audience reviews in as well, just to kind of round out.
I was kind of going for a joke there. It just didn't land at all.
Oh, what?
Sorry.
Oh, it land.
It
Nice.
just, I was just trying to.
I was about
I'm going
to
to work
say
on it,
land.
guys.
Get it.
I was about to say,
I
what
got the
fuck?
follow-up
No, I-
pun.
I
What
was
was
going
the
to say,
first
what the
one?
Yeah,
fuck are
I
you talking
know.
about?
I
The first
know.
one was character arcs.
No, I was just saying that this movie had none of any of these things.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, it did.
Yeah.
It had- no,
There was a
I
theme?
was just. I made a terrible fucking joke.
Hey,
okay? It's
let's
a
go
really
back 30
bad joke.
seconds and live in that time.
It's a really, really bad
I'll
joke.
cut this all
So,
out.
anyways,
Don't you do it.
let's
Don't cut this
No.
out.
talk
I would never.
about themes because Brian has things to say.
Well, I think working together for survival It's a classic sort of monster movie, and you got everyone coming together from all different walks of life. Come together to overcome it. I think that's a theme, and I think a side theme to that is that everyday people can become heroes.
No, I think this plane should have gone down. Samuel L. Jackson would have grabbed the kids and the small dog and just jumped out and flown, like grown wings and flown to the ground. I think it probably would have made it a lot better.
Wait, so are you saying that those weren't the themes in the movie, or are you saying what you'd rather it?
I would rather that would have been a better theme, just to save the day kind of thing.
Well, sure, there could have been better themes. I guess I was just trying to recognize what the themes were.
I can't believe you found one.
You don't think those are themes?
No, I just can't believe you found one. I'm impressed.
Oh. Well, I tried.
I'll give you credit.
I spent a lot of time today. I cleared a lot of my afternoon, and that's what I came up with.
I thought the theme was Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's a good theme.
That seemed to be the theme. And that's a fine theme. It is. It's a fine theme.
I don't know. You got the girl sucking out the poison, and you got the rapper guy and his goons kind of coming together and shedding sort of their archetypes, and kind of everyone works together. I don't know.
Well, these are. I think now we're getting to arcs, right?
Yeah. Well, the rapper guy is the first arc I had.
He seems to be the biggest arc.
The biggest arc,
right?
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's worth noting. We haven't really said this yet, but this is a movie that has so many characters and introduces so many characters so quickly. It's like it's difficult to develop any characters well when you've got 35 of them.
And they're all caricatures too.
Right. Well, they have to be.
Yeah.
Because you can't develop any nuance.
Well, they have to be because it's basically a Michael Bay movie. I mean, I feel like Michael Bay ghost directed this. It very much screams if Michael Bay made a movie about snakes on a plane with like 1/4 of the budget that he normally has.
Yeah,
that's the feel of this movie.
Take the basic characters of a stewardess and a rapper and a pilot and a FBI agent and all these and just crank them to 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how Kenan Thompson goes from regular guy to like kind of steps up and gains his courage and like flies the plane. I mean, that's somewhat of an arc.
Yeah, video games are the best, right? Those save lives.
Flight simulators. Chris.
Video games save lives.
The only other one I had, and I had a question mark after this, and I feel like I'm not sure if this is one or not, but Samuel L. Jackson learns to see his suspect as a human being.
Yeah.
I think you're stretching that a little
It's
Oh,
bit.
a stretch.
He did go
Stretch.
surfing with them at the end.
He also blasted him in the chest with a 45 at the end.
Well, it was planned.
Planned?
Well,
Really
the
the
Planned.
bulletproof vest.
Yeah, but I mean, aim that thing a quarter of an inch higher, and
Yeah.
you're popping his little head off. So
I
I'm
did-
just
I
saying
did
that's not-
actually-
Good. He's very.
He is
good
very
at
good.
shooting.
He's very good with his heater. But
I will say
just-
I did find that funny. I laughed out like just a tiny bit at how hilarious it was that he just shot him in the chest and he flew out the back of the front of the plane.
I was confused.
Yeah, I was just like, it shocked me.
I was like,
And-
what? Wait,
Yeah.
That might have
what?
been the most shocking.
Then they immediately ripped his shirt open and they had to make sure they showed
Uh-huh.
that. Yeah.
I've got more thoughts about Samuel L. Jackson's gunsmithing, but we can save that. So that's all I had for themes and character arcs. They're weak. You could identify them. They're there.
Well, that takes us to one place. Before we get to that place, though, just want to remind everyone you're listening to, according to my notes, Critial Mess. You're here with Brian and Grizz and Ben, and we are talking about Snakes on a Plane. We are sponsored by Pacifico Clara in a Can. We're headed to a special place right now, and it's a place that we hold near and dear to our hearts. We don't know what's in this place. It's apparently open 24/7. I don't know what they're selling or what they're doing. But this place is called Brian's Corner. Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Brian's Corner, everybody. We recently had a fountain soda machine installed, and we will make you a suicide if you'd like. So,
Wow.
yep. Just keeps getting better and better over here. Let's talk about planes, if you will, since that's kind of one of the main characters of this movie, or
One
I
of-
guess the
one of
setting.
two. Yep.
One of two.
Yeah.
Snakes and planes. Let's talk about planes. Just a quick question for the room. What's the best scene involving a plane? This was going to be an icebreaker, but it felt a little bit too topical. Just to get us warmed up talking about planes. What's the not in this movie? Just what's the best scene involving a plane? Any kind of plane, any kind of movie. Just throw a scene out there. I'll start.
Please.
Have you seen Air Force One?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a scene where Gary Oldman it's Gary Oldman versus Harrison Ford. It's super intense. They're up on the top deck of the Air Force One, and he's got the gun just right in Harrison Ford's neck, and it's that is such a powerful scene that takes place on that plane right there. But that's my honorable mention. I'd say the best scene in recent memory involving a plane is the Halo jump on Mission Impossible. Ghost Protocol. No, not Ghost Protocol. Fallout. The one take of the Halo jump out of that crazy plane over Paris.
I got to go with those are great picks.
Thanks.
And I just recently watched Fallout again for a little bit. I recommended it to my dad, and he gave it 3 thumbs up.
3 thumbs up.
I don't know if there's a max, but he
What's
sent
his-
that a few times.
What's his,
as he watched it and progressed through
Where's
the
that other
movie.
thumb coming from?
yeah, I don't know. He was very excited. He loves Tom Cruise. But the other is I've never actually seen Air Force One.
Ooh.
I know I'll awkwardly, slowly raise my hand and I'll put it on my list to watch recently.
Oh,
but,
there's no shame, but that's a strong recommend.
okay. I gotta check it out. But my vote for best plane scene has to go to Castaway, and that FedEx flight and him just like that nightmarish moment as he knew he was going down and like just getting around the plane and then just crash. It was awesome.
I think that was my answer for best plane crash. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
so
great,
good.
great
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, I'm gonna go probably any of the scenes with Affleck and Pearl Harbor. I thought he just killed it. I think he looks like a World War II pilot, and he wears that jacket with the kind of the bomber jacket with the hairy collar.
Do we have a sound effect for sarcasm?
Yeah, I can't
Well-
tell how thick he's laying that on.
There's the
Yeah.
ring shot. You can't hear it.
Well, yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm not landing really well.
Okay,
tonight.
okay. I saw right through that. I was
mine-
worried.
I guess you guys do know I do like somewhat unironically Michael Bay, so I guess maybe it would be a stretch that would be a real answer or possible answer. But
And it could be any kind of plane, an F-35, F-14,
Paper airplane.
whatever. Yeah, paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
No need to belabor it. Just wanted to kind of get us thinking planes, not the movie planes, but thinking about planes. Okay, are we good?
Can I say
do you want to
mine?
answer? Yeah, Ben, what do you got?
Mine's Bridesmaids.
Oh, shoot.
my
that's
gosh,
funny.
so
She's like,
good.
There's a
So funny.
colonial woman on the airplane on the wing.
yeah, it's very funny.
It's so good.
I could rewatch
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig on that plane over and over. I
It's
forgot
so
about that.
good. When she keeps getting kicked back to
Yeah.
Coach, yeah.
Comes in with the sunglasses. Are we ready? Are we ready to move to go?
Should I give a real answer? I don't know.
You don't have
Go
to.
for
No,
it.
no.
Yeah, no. I'll give a real answer. I think I don't know, Con Air, maybe.
Yeah. There you go.
whole
Which
movie?
scene though?
The whole thing.
No.
When he throws
Give me,
No.
give me a,
No.
give me a,
Wait,
give me
when
a
he throws
scene. Give me
Dave Chappelle?
something.
when he throws Dave Chappelle out the window at the plane.
That's fun. I mean, I guess, just the whole crash is pretty fun. I don't know. Fight Club's got a great plane scene too. We've
Yeah.
covered that one too. That's a plane crash, I guess.
Well,
That's-
but you could be talking about their conversation about soap, which is also really a great scene
Oh,
too.
that is
So-
that is a great scene. Yeah. Anyways, sorry,
Okay.
we have belabored, and that's
That's
a lot
fine.
of that's my
fine.
fault.
So I think that'll make the actual meat of Brian's Corner go quicker. I just want to talk about a couple of movies that mostly take place on passenger airlines. There are a handful of very well-known movies, and I'd say maybe 80% of the movie takes place on some sort of a passenger airline, whether it's a prison transport, as in Con Air, or a commercial flight. I just want you guys, when I rail these off, give me your rating out of 10 on how good of a movie this is. Airplane. If you haven't seen it, just say I haven't seen it.
8.
7.
Okay. I need to watch it again. I think I'd say 6. Executive Decision.
8.
No clue.
You haven't seen it?
No. Never even heard of it. What is it?
Executive Decision, mid-90s, Kurt Russell, Steven
Steven
Seagal
Seagal gets
dies in like the first...
Executive
killed, which
Decision?
is like unprecedented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steven Seagal.
Holly Berry.
Apparently there was a great fight with the director and Mr. Seagal because he was trying to talk his way into
Yep.
not dying.
Dang.
It's
Okay.
it's actually I'm going to give it like an 8.5 maybe. It's a great
Whoa,
movie.
Okay. Wow.
Air Force One. We've already talked. You haven't seen that.
Got to give it a shot. Yep.
I'm going to go 9 on Air Force One.
Yeah, 8.
Damn. Okay.
Con Air.
9.
Yeah, I have to say 9 too.
All right,
I do love that movie.
8.9.
Ooh, okay, good.
Just because I didn't want to say the same
I'm
answer.
glad you're close.
Red Eye.
Red Eye. I feel like I saw that. I feel like it came out the same time as Snakes on a Plane, right? Maybe.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy, old chick from The Notebook. What's
I
her name?
vaguely remember that.
McAdams.
Yeah, McAdams.
I don't remember. 5, maybe 6. I vaguely
That's funny.
remember.
Yeah, I have also seen it, and I can't even remember a thing about it. I
Yeah.
can't even tell you.
I remember liking it, but it was kind of forgettable. So I'm gonna probably go 5. And then this is the one you may not have seen, but I only put it on here because I just thought maybe there's something wrong with me that I hadn't seen this. Flight Plan with Jodie Foster.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, let's just skip.
Sounds
that.
familiar,
Let's
but
just
no.
skip it. Last one, Passenger 57.
Oh, fuck yeah, 9.
Passenger 57.
Wesley
That sounds
Snipes,
familiar too.
mid-90s.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I go 8.
I saw this at a friend's house when I was 13, and I got in trouble when my parents found out that I saw it, and I wasn't allowed to go to their house for like 6 months, but that kind of wore off, you know?
Sure.
And I remember it being like
6 months? That's
I remember
a long
it being
time.
like way more rated R than I was ready for.
Yeah,
And
super worth it.
to me, it was like forbidden fruit. So like, and I haven't seen it since. So I'm gonna ignorantly give it a 9.
That's a good movie to get in trouble for.
Yeah, it's worth
Yeah,
it.
really
right?
good one. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me at Brian's Corner. I'll be handing out suicides for the next hour, and then it's going to be Adult Swim after that, and then slow backwards skate later.
All right. This has been Brian's Corner. Da-na-na-na-na-na. And you are listening to Critical Mess, and we are talking about snakes on a plane. And, this is that point in the show where, it's the time where we get to the segment that everyone listens for. I think people pretty much, they tell us that they just skip ahead, usually the first 40 to 50 minutes, just to get to this episode, or to this point in the episode. And then they usually just play it over and over and over and over again because it's just so insightful and just kind of full of wisdom and also just kind of glee and just good things.
There's been a lot of memes started from this.
You're right. We are very good at what we do.
We are. And you may know this segment by maybe a few different names. To some, it's known as Crossfire.
Get caught up in it.
To others, it might be known as...
I'm so glad we added that.
Fuck me.
Rapid Fire.
I'm not playing the sound effect again.
But to most people know it by a simpler name. And that's Slow Burn.
Slow burn.
That's because we burn it slow. We might be burning it from both ends, but we burn it slow. And I think we're just going to jump right into Slow Burn here tonight. I know we probably all have a thing or two to yap about, but I'm going to start with something here. And just remember, Slow Burn, guys. Something that happened right at the beginning of the film. Red Bull, product placement. First 2 seconds. Bam. How much you got to pay to get in the first 2 seconds of the movie? Damn. Like, that is like some serious product placement. That was in like frame 10.
Do you think they knew their audience?
Absolutely.
Well, look at Red Bull today. It's an institution.
And their marketing is actually unorthodox and really, really ingenious. I actually had here, by the 7.5 minute mark, Red Bull had 3 completely separate product placements in 3 completely separate scenes.
Right. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I very much noticed. It didn't bother me. It was fine.
Yeah,
I just thought-
it worked.
thought
It was
notable.
It all tied together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Guy riding his dirt bike, drinking a Red Bull. Tracks.
Hell yeah.
It definitely tracks.
Got 2 cases of warm Red Bull next to his CRT TV in his apartment.
Yeah,
Nothing
there's
like
no
it.
reason to hydrate on a bike in the middle of the jungle of Hawaii. Yep.
Good thing we're not trying to get sponsored by Red Bull.
Sorry, Red Bull.
So here's an interesting point about this movie that this happens in movies sometimes, and I actually think it's kind of a cool thing to do and kind of a risky thing to do, and this movie did it. And that was having the inciting incident of the movie be the very first scene of the movie. We don't have any other exposition before the inciting incident, the thing that drives all the action of the film, the murder of this guy by this gangster.
And I hated that.
Did you?
Made it feel like a TV show.
It did, because you had to get
It
because
did,
you have
yeah.
to be more economical with your time on a TV show. You don't have 90 minutes; you got 30.
And one of the great things about movies is the first act. I love the first act of movies. It's the sky's the limit. You never know where you're going. you know, and this movie didn't feel like it had one.
There's just no character building.
Yeah.
Like there's literally just zero character building.
Right. Well, it's because and there's
You don't know
so
who
many.
these people are. You don't know why they're trying to kill him.
Yeah, the main guy who sees the guy get killed, there is no character. He's just like this, like, okay, he rides dirt bikes and he surfs. Like,
Neat.
can I see him like in his everyday life or like who his friends are or anything? So that's a good call out.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting, and it's also interesting that like because we had no exposition at all before that inciting incident scene like had to do some exposition work that was very awkward. So it was like, you know, the guy getting killed was like, "Fuck you, Eddie Kim." Like, you know, that's Eddie Kim.
We're supposed to know.
It's the high and mighty prosecutor. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, it's like, who talks like that? Like, no one talks like that. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. And they had to do that because they just didn't, you know, do anything beforehand to build that up. So that was just an interesting thing. Brian, earlier you brought up that the your favorite character in the movie. How did you refer to him?
The Xanax guy?
Xanax guy, yeah. When he offered the dog the Xanax,
Yeah.
just A+.
Yeah.
That got it, just a
Yeah.
ear-to-ear smile.
I appreciate someone who has Xanax on tap and ready to go for you. I mean, that's just a buddy. That's just a friend.
Yeah.
They care about you.
Yeah, he was great. Funny how they reference a eBay bidding war, you know, and
did they?
for a Pamela Anderson poster.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the guy that got, you know, like the agent that had gotten promoted. He had the desk job now. I forget his name.
Yeah.
But that's just funny that, you know, at this time when this movie came out, what year was this again? 2006. You know, that eBay bidding wars, you know, it's still a thing. Still a thing.
YouTube was 1 year old and the iPhone would come out 1 year later.
Yeah, wow.
Well,
Crazy.
that's why my favorite quote about the taking a picture of the snake. That's why it's so like interesting because it's like a time capsule.
Such a time capsule.
Yeah, right.
They're like, take a picture of the snake, and you're like, and then we're gonna process the photo at Jiffy Photo, and you know, like that's such a time capsule.
It's
is.
hard.
It is wild.
It's hard. This movie did it a lot. There were a lot of moments that were just super specific to cell phones, printing, like the internet, email, all this stuff. It's just hilarious.
It's almost like he expected him to say like, "No, idiot, we're going to upload it to my Flickr account."
yeah. Mentioned some major photo sharing software. Yeah.
Okay. This was just kind of a small thing when I'm calling out because I thought it was weird. It was just a weird scene. Remember when they went through all the pre-flight instructions? It was just like a normal plane. Like
I hated
nothing
that.
happened in that scene. It was just odd. They spent like a minute or two just like going through normal pre-flight instructions like a flight attendant would do.
I think I especially was averse to that because I had the day before literally just gotten off two flights with a layover, and I had seen that so
I know.
many times.
What a
So it's
silly.
like,
I don't know
why are they
include
showing this
that?
whole thing?
I
Like
mean,
on Tommy Boy, they show it because it's funny.
Right. They had like a bit.
Yeah, but on this, it's just like,
They're added nothing.
okay, that guy's supposed to be gay. This person's annoyed. But
Yeah, it was.
why are they still going?
That should have been on the cutting room floor. Grizz, this one is for you, buddy. Sam Jackson's watch. Did you get a peek at it?
I did. It looked like some sort of Richard Mille.
It was something baller.
Yeah.
It was something an FBI agent sure as hell can't afford. That's for
Absolutely
sure.
not. It did look like that, like a tourbillon, Richard Mille. Like those are hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wait a minute. Aren't they FBI agents in Bad Boys?
Yeah.
Dude's got a fucking Porsche, doesn't he? Or a
Oh my
Lambo
gosh,
or
Brian.
whatever?
We got
As-
into this like 5
as
times.
But I'm just telling you, like, you don't know his backstory.
That's completely explained.
You don't. It might be explained here. He could be a trust fund baby.
It's not, though. Mike
It's not.
Lowry is
Not
a
a
trust fund
single-
child, and that is very clearly explained.
Not a single line was explaining that $500,000 watch on his wrist, unless it was fake, which would be funny. But it's Samuel L. Jackson. It's 2006. He probably had a shit ton of money. He was like, I'm going to wear my watch today. And he just wore it.
Yeah, he did.
But honestly, Nick, I didn't care to look at anyone's wrist in this movie, especially his. I just didn't care enough in this movie. So
While we're on the subject of Nick cracking open another delicious
Sweet, sweet sponsor
Pacifico Colada.
in a can.
While we're on the topic of Sam Jack, since when did they start training FBI agents to shoot the leg? Did you guys notice that in the beginning? 2 deliberate shots to the legs of the 2 perps that come in.
oh yeah, and that little hat, like the hat, like the badass little shootout he had in the
Yeah.
apartment. He did act. That was kind of awesome.
But no one is trained to shoot somebody in the leg.
They shoot center mass.
Yeah, center
Yeah.
mass, put 2 in the center mass regardless.
Yep.
So I thought that was just, and I'm not the type of guy that knows about guns and knows about how they work and how to shoot. But I do know that much. Slow burn.
Burning it slow. And we are burning it slow. I really want to hear 3G's big hit, Booty Go Thump. I was disappointed that we didn't get any exposure.
That should have
to
played in the
track.
credits instead of that stupid ass Cobra Starship
What was that? We're gonna get to that.
video.
What the
Okay, yeah.
fuck was
Sorry,
that?
little teaser.
Booty Go Thump would have actually.
Booty Go Thump would have gone
thumped.
hard.
Yeah, would have gone
Booty
super hard.
Go thump.
I know. I was like, I need that track in my life yesterday.
Anytime some kind of like deep bass track plays when I'm watching a movie on my home theater in the basement, it gets me happy because like the neighbors can hear it, and I didn't get it.
Here's an '06 throwback. You don't see too much anymore. Whale Tails. What do we think about that?
What's that?
Hell yeah.
Classic.
Is that like the junior flip? What are we talking about?
Thongs go up.
Oh, that's a whale tail. Man, you
Guys,
guys
were you in 2006?
You
Where were
guys and
living?
your dick root and your whale tail
This is
and your
my-
junior flip.
Yeah, this is prime
This is
time
just
for me.
basic popular culture.
Dude, I
Yeah.
went to fucking IPS for 13 years, okay? We had different words we used.
there were plenty of whale tails at IPS, buddy.
but we didn't call them that.
yeah, well, regardless.
Anyway, you guys went to rich kid school, so that explains that. But yeah.
Where they had whales.
What was the question? What was the question?
That was it. No.
okay. I approve.
Yeah. It's just a site you just don't. When,
Sure.
when did that died, and it has definitely not come back.
Good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you
not
can
coming
go
back.
go to every mall in all 50 great states of this country. I don't think you're going to see many whale tails in 2023.
No.
No.
Anywho, you'll see them in Snakes on a Plane.
Snakes on a plane.
Let's just talk about all the kind of snake bites. And where they're biting.
Let me get my notes.
There's a lot of genital biting,
Uh-huh.
A lot of genital.
boob biting. These snakes are going after the juicy parts.
Yeah.
Can I
do you want me to rattle them off real quick? Because
Yeah,
I wrote
yeah.
many of them down.
Could you rattlesnake them off for us?
We had
Yeah.
a boob bite, a dick bite, a tongue bite, an eye socket bite, and then a bite to the heart. And then there was a nice gruesome high heel to the eyeball or the ear. The ear.
Did you say butt bite too?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
There was a butt bite. Yeah, sorry, butt bite, and then the kid's arm. Like all, it's just
Can I just say I really appreciated how the dick bite was just an insta kill. He was immediately dead.
Yeah.
His dick got bit.
That's
he was
that's
dead.
what would happen. Let's be honest.
fucking dead.
You would have a heart attack and keel over dead. I think
Yeah.
is what would happen.
yeah. Shock.
saving that man.
Shock took that man down quick.
Just real quick on that guy. Thoughts on exclaiming out loud, "How's my big boy?" right before you take a leak.
Yeah, I liked it.
Do you do that?
I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
for
should
sure.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
kind
just
of
between me and myself and my dick.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like a sort of a wholesome healing kind of a way to
my
treat.
God.
Well, I always
treat
start with
yourself.
like "How's my," and then just come with a new kind of moniker.
Okay.
Damn it! This movie's
All
so
right.
bad.
I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start wearing a whale tail and greeting.
If you don't wear a thong to the next frisbee game on Monday night, I'm gonna be upset.
You'll never know. The other thing I was gonna say was I'm sorry, but the nipple bite, like it was like Chekhov's gun. Like she busted those things out and there's snakes coming down, and I'm thinking to myself, if this doesn't happen, I'm gonna be disappointed. So good job delivering.
Also, shout out to Taylor Kish. I mean, I thought he was going to be the next live, action star of that era, and then he just disappeared. I was shocked to see him in this movie.
Gone.
Gone. He's not dead
Forever.
He's gone, but never forgotten.
There were some gnarly kills in this movie. One of the gnarliest I thought that I'll just throw out here was the high heel to the ear.
Yeah.
I that one really struck me as very painful looking.
That
Yeah.
did feel very real, and it hurt me.
It's quite visceral.
There was a lot of sort of chill deaths. Like, ugh.
Yeah, I thought kind of that scene where the kind of everyone is freaking out and scrambling to get to the front of the plane. It's like this kind of panic pandemonium scene. That was actually like a really good, like crazy tense scene.
It's like
I
Train to
was-
Busan.
Yeah, there was a similar thing. in
Also,
Train to
the flight attendant, they all as a group had to take all the luggage, and it took them a really long time, if you notice, to stack all the luggage. And then the flight attendant notices there's a baby in the other side, and she takes all of it down in like 16, a millisecond. and jumps over it and goes in.
Well, to be fair, that lady was an absolute boss. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
I had
Incredible.
in my notes the lady that saved the baby heart symbol.
Yeah.
Also, how do you lose your baby? Like,
You died. You got bit in the face by a snake,
she
probably.
didn't.
Oh, she didn't.
No, she's in
I think she
the
got
rest of the movie.
well. She got like trampled and kicked. It was a stretch.
It's chaotic.
Yeah.
Stretch. Yeah. Let's talk about John. You guys remember who John was?
No.
Nope.
John was Samuel L. Jackson's partner.
Oh my God. Why did we care about him? Why was his
He-
death so sad?
Because he was the bravest man that the biggest badass of all time ever knew.
Okay, that must have just passed me by. Please explain.
And he explains that. Samuel L. Jackson explains that early on in the film. He says something very similar to that line. Something like, "This is the bravest guy I know."
Okay.
Something like that.
My grandma says that too about me.
Well, that's fair, but this is coming from Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
And that's
no
and that's your
disrespect to
grandma.
Grams,
Yeah.
but
I don't
just
even-
Samuel L.
I
Jackson.
just had no connection to when he was dying, and it was like sad, and everyone's.
Well,
I'm
can I
like,
just point out that the
what?
bravest man that the biggest badass ever knew is killed by the only thing he fears, the snake.
Oh.
And I actually don't, as a wordsmith, I don't remember the word. I can't come up with it right now. But there's a word. No, the word that's fear of snakes. It's a weird one.
Crossfire.
It's
Yeah, I
something
think
like
that was it. It was something like that. Anyway, shameful. I can't remember it. But regardless, they used that word in this movie, and I thought that was to describe him, to describe John.
You've explained that to me. Now it makes sense now.
Yeah. And I did want to. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk in this slow burn segment about Captain Rick, and who came through with, for me, the most memorable line in the film, where he says, "If that happens, this bird goes down faster than a tie hooker."
Mm.
That one was pretty classic.
My second favorite line of the movie.
I just don't buy that he's still making those sex jokes as he's dying from being poisoned by a snake.
I think that's kind of the brilliance of it, though.
Mm.
Yeah.
To me.
That's just his character.
He's that devoted to his craft.
Pure and through. Yeah.
It's the only thing he knows and lives for.
You had this same similar type of defense for old girl Michelle Rodriguez in Resident Evil, and I don't know. It just takes me out of it because when people are really in this sort of life and death situation, I just don't think they're making jokes.
Sex and violence, man, same part of the brain.
Maybe
dude.
I just need to be. Have you guys ever almost died? That's a real morbid question.
Just those 3 times now.
Never mind. I guess maybe I'll change my tune if I'm ever up against my life flashing before my eyes. Maybe I'll make a sex joke and I'll be like, oh, it is how my
no
brain
shit.
works.
Okay, so I just want to talk about a sequence here that I think has to be addressed in this movie. So we start with the steward. So the guy gets the bodyguard, Triple G's bodyguard, gets bit in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get to a point where the steward tries to suck the poison out of the guy's ass. Cut to suffering child with a grossly swollen hand. Cut to a really gnarly pus bust.
Mm.
I respected the shit out of them putting that very, very serious pus bust.
I agree.
Just
Really
holding
it
on
was
it.
completely disgusting, but it was a really, really cool practical effect.
Really, really well done. Yeah.
It was gross.
Oh man.
So to me, okay, now the best part in the movie to me, the best part of this entire film was the end of that sequence. So we're all a little preoccupied right now.
No, I'm tracking.
We're listening.
I'm listening.
Yeah, sorry, I'm preoccupied. So we're just watching the. Maybe we should actually get to what's happening on screen in another slow burn segment.
We had a dog get thrown to a snake, and
Yes.
the snake.
But
Which is my
and
least favorite part
I
of the
knew
film.
I knew that was coming, and that was one
Straight
of
up asshole.
my favorite scenes in the movie.
My favorite scene was the 5 seconds after that.
Yeah.
When the guy then gets.
And that's part of my
dog
thought
hit.
I had, where this movie it has too many karmic punishments. You always know it's too predictable because if somebody says, for instance, how's my big dude doing, or how's my big boy when he's taking a leak,
Right.
or you've got the couple in the Mile High Club, or the mean guy. All these people get killed right away, and it's just like,
Almost immediately each time. Like
it's
just,
so predictable. It's like, oh, the movie's telling us this is an asshole, and if you're an asshole, apparently you deserve to die. So,
Well, I enjoy
Anyway, I
dog
hated that.
killers being executed by snakes. I'm into it.
I think if a dog is killed instead of a human,
I don't think that's what happened. I
okay.
think he was being just a bastard.
I think he was trying to distract the snake.
he's trying to slow down that snake to get into people.
Put it this way, I would not have thrown that dog, but I kind of like was surprised in a somewhat good way that the movie actually went there. So, and I'm really just trying to get at Nick as he.
No, I was gonna say. I'm not even gonna go there. Okay, sorry. Good Lord, we need to get back to. I was breaking down a sequence.
Yep,
I was
okay,
breaking
sorry,
down
sequence.
A sequence.
We'll get there.
Sequence me.
Pus is busting.
Pus is
It's
busting.
disgusting.
Pus
It's
is
disgusting.
busting.
Cut to young mother sucking child's wound, and the bodyguard whose ass got bitten says, "Now that's what I'm talking about."
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
pretty
there's
messed
a
up.
There were a couple of those
Yeah.
where you're like, yeah.
Nope.
Oh, I exploded into laughter. I thought it was the funniest thing I saw. I thought it was the funniest moment of probably any movie we've watched.
Why?
Because it was just so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
and the tonal shift was just so insane.
Would you say you were
And,
laughing
and
at
it was so wrong on so many
Yeah.
levels.
So were you laughing at it?
I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not even sure.
You were just laughing at the
But it
abrupt
gave
shift
me
in tone.
hard belly laugh.
Okay. That's good. That's worth something.
Yeah,
I love a belly
did.
laugh.
I paused the movie and laughed for a good 10 to 15
That's
seconds.
incredible.
So, anyways, it was wrong. It was weird, but it was fucking hilarious, I thought.
Can we go tone real quick? Can we talk tone?
Yeah, I think we
I
need
think
to.
we have
Okay.
to.
I think that was probably one of the biggest problems I had with the movie, generally speaking, was the tone. And I guess let me just make my case for that. I think you can make a good, over-the-top, goofy action horror thriller, whatever this was, if you do something unique and if it nails the tone. And let me just rattle off some comps, some comp movies. We like to sort of do comp movies here. In my opinion, the following movies prove that you can make a movie like this that has an identity and is actually a good movie on its own. And this is my response to those people who said, well, this is just a B movie. You know, it doesn't have to be anything special. It's just entertaining. And here's my response is this list of movies that could have been that, but instead the people who made the movie thought to themselves, actually, I'm also going to make a good movie. Okay? Here's my case. And Grizz, I love that you're nodding because I feel like you're going to track with this.
Yes. Already. I have movies in my head. Go.
I'll say none of these movies I would rate highly because they're just dumb B movies. I'd rate them highly because they're good movies. So and you don't have to agree with all of them. I'm just going to rail off some comps. Zombieland,
Yep.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil,
Absolutely. That's been a while. Yeah.
great movie. Beetlejuice,
Fuck yes.
I don't like any of these movies all that much.
Oh,
Arachnophobia,
Yeah. I loved that movie. And I hate
Gremlins.
spiders.
Yeah.
Gremlins. Holy shit.
Actually,
yes.
let's go back to Arachnophobia. That's a really good one because that is just straight up going hard into the spider creature movie, kind of like this.
Can I just say something about Arachnophobia?
Yeah, sure.
I think it's important for me to say. Now, I saw Arachnophobia in the theater.
Oh wow,
And I would have been very
are
young.
you 50?
No, but this will maybe give some indication to my age, or maybe not. I had to leave. We had to leave. We had to go.
Because it was too much.
I was very afraid.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
In
yeah.
fact,
Oh,
the funny
yeah.
thing is, I kind of liked spiders before that.
oh man.
Like I thought, like I had books on spiders, and I thought spiders were cool. And then
Oh.
after that movie, just I had arachnophobia.
Yeah.
Is that a thing
Yeah.
of the 90s for like I had spider books too. I hate spiders. I think they're disgusting. They're awful. And then I saw that movie and I was like, man, they're really fucked up. But I love that movie.
I love my head loves spiders. My heart doesn't. Like I think they're really cool, and I like that they just leave me alone and they kill all the other bugs.
Right.
But
Smart.
goddamn, when I see a spider, I'm just like, fuck.
I know. Well, it's because they're just like little dismembered hands that are
It's
just.
just not right.
Oh shit, that's
But-
great.
Let's give Arachnophobia some credit. If it was able to really make you afraid of spiders, I don't think Snakes on a Plane did that. Now I'm not 5. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
exactly. I
a
was like-
certain age that
I was
I
like
won't
8 or something.
divulge.
Like it was. Yeah, it was. I
41.
was young.
Okay, so Arachnophobia, Gremlins. You know,
No,
Absolutely.
Gremlins is a classic.
Shaun of the
Wait, sorry, Christmas movie? Christmas movie? Gremlins? I think there's
Christmas movie.
There's,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going yes too, but
I think
some people disagree with that.
Well, I think Christmas plays into the plot.
Yes.
not just
yes,
a
it
setting,
does. It's a key part of the plot. Yeah, that's a good point.
Sh-
In the
uh,
s-
sh-
In the
sorry,
same
go
way
ahead.
Die Hard is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Christmas plays into the plot of Die Hard as well. Maybe to a lesser extent, but I think you
Yeah.
can make the argument.
I think if Christmas music is in the soundtrack, you're a Christmas movie.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Shaun of the Dead,
yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Scott Pilgrim.
I haven't seen it.
Haven't
Need to
seen
see
it.
it. I know.
nice.
I know.
Scott
I've heard.
Pilgrim is
I've heard
very
lots
good.
of people
It
say
is.
it's good.
It is. It's a beautiful.
I've heard
movie.
high.
Chris
yeah.
Evans isn't it?
Chris
Ah,
Evans. Yeah,
see.
remember we were talking about
Right,
Chris
he's a bad
Evans as
guy,
a
right?
villain?
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim is
Yeah.
a great example. Men in Black,
Yeah, classic.
An American Werewolf in Paris.
Mm.
Sorry, London, Paris,
Paris.
Paris.
Yeah.
No, it's London.
No, London.
London.
The John Landis movie.
Something's in
definitely
Paris.
Yeah.
Indifferent. I
An
don't
American
remember that
Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
American Werewolf.
That's just kind of an interesting movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it is a good movie.
it's
I
a
think it's a
classic.
good movie. It is a classic movie. It's another movie that is tonally weird.
Right. And the last one I'll say, Army of Darkness. And I've actually not seen Army of Darkness.
Oh, I just watched it.
Or I've seen it, but it was like it chopped into parts and late at night. I don't remember it.
Yeah, never seen that.
Okay, so reason I compiled that list was because I feel that list comprises of movies that are each one of them unique, artfully done in a certain extent, creative, and they also are adjacent to the genre of Snakes on a Plane. They're either creature movies or horror action thrillers or just crazy, goofy, over-the-top movies, and they're kind of set out to be that way. But this is my sort of TED Talk on you can make a movie in this genre and it can be good. And Snakes on a Plane does not belong on this list. Now, Nick, I know you disagreed with several of those beginning ones, and I'm not saying this is objectively right, but this is
I get
just
your
kind
point.
of I just wanted to speak to the tone of the movie and that
Yeah.
it was a big pitfall. So
Yeah, no, I get it. Here's a little one. The Venom specialist would have been a really good cameo opportunity. Why did they not put some fun character actor in that role instead of that dude? I don't even know who that dude was.
was he in like High Fidelity or something? He's
Yeah,
always like
I've seen him
the
before,
lame
and I don't mean to slight
roommate.
you, sir, but like he's not like he just wasn't the give me like Steve Buscemi or something.
Yeah, who
you know?
was it? Oh,
like someone
the-
who just pops up at like the middle end of Act 2. You know, kind of
Yeah.
like that kind of character. It should be a good cameo.
I think that's a perfect cameo.
It's a perfect cameo role, and they
character.
missed it. They
Yeah.
missed it.
The Venom guy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I
okay.
did not dislike him, but I agree that it was an opportunity missed.
They could have gotten even the guy from we just watched The Gray Man. The guy that was in that photo studio. He was
Yes.
weird and quirky enough that it was good for that quick little scene. And he was kind of like twisty, weird, and then
Oh, no, he should have been is it Peter Stormare? Who's the guy
No.
that's always the Russian guy?
Oh yes, that is
Ooh.
Peter Stormare. Yeah,
He-
sorry, yes.
Do you think he would have worked in that
Yeah.
role?
That could have been fun.
Okay.
Yeah, like the Russian snake venom guy.
Or even just
Yeah.
like the really nerdy guy who knows everything about snake bites and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
don't touch that. That's his anti-venom for special snake.
It would have been good. Yeah, he could have pulled it off. Sure, he was making a Michael Bay movie at the time.
Yeah, probably.
All right, what else do we have here? We talked a little bit about the kind of the email smartphone solution situation, which was just funny that was such a kind of a novel thing at the time that this woman would have. And I'm going to give a shameless plug here. I have to. Her name, and my gosh, I'm terrible. I can't remember her name, but that actress, her name was Mercedes in the movie.
She was in something I just watched.
So she was. Do you know what she was in?
She played the same
You
type
know-
of character.
You know what she's in?
What?
Oh, you know
I didn't
what
look
she's
it
in.
up.
Oh, you know what she's in. She's in something that you really love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what it is, Ben?
Yes, because I looked it up because I thought she was Alicia Silverstone.
that's right.
You know, she
Yeah.
does look
For
a
a
lot like
very
Alicia
long
Silverstone.
time.
Yeah.
Like for the first act, I thought she was Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah, she looks a lot like her.
A lot
she
like
does. Yeah.
Sidebar, my favorite thing is when Ben catches the movie and he texts me the entire play-by-play of the entire movie throughout as he watches it.
What's she in?
She's in Peep Show.
Oh, love Peep Show.
Yes, Peep Show. Greatest show
Classic.
of all time.
I've only watched it all the way through twice.
That's like 10 times
not
too few.
enough.
That's twice more than I have, so.
Yeah.
Well, it
you're
used to be
missing out
like
on the
10
best show
times.
ever.
Shout out to Christine Hudson, a fellow Peep Show lover who just started working with us again.
Yep. Greatest show ever.
Well, it's Seinfeld, but
Okay, what else do we have here? Jeez. Okay, this is we just saw this on screen. We got a little distracted here, but I think we would be a little remiss if we didn't discuss the kind of the snake eating the guy whole the giant python eating that sort of annoying. Was he British or he had some sort of accent?
Yeah, he was
just
like
kind of
some
pretentious
sort of businessman.
dickhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just getting swallowed whole by this. I mean, how many times on Earth do you think that's like actually happened to a human? That they just got swallowed whole by an absolute gigantic python? It's happened a
6
couple
times?
times. Couple
Maybe
times.
7.
Well, I feel like it's probably happened a lot more than
I'm
that.
going to say a lot more than that.
Especially, I hate to say it, but probably like babies and kids and stuff.
Yeah. The
Don't even want to think about that.
My thing is,
Yeah.
where
Terrifying.
do those big ass snakes come from? Because like
just hell.
they were all they were supposed to come out
Depths
of
of hell.
those lays, right?
Oh,
yeah,
you're talking about in the movie?
Yeah.
No. I think the lays
weren't they all in the lays?
The lays had the pheromones.
they were like in a separate compartment.
yeah, they were in like separate.
I actually
Yeah,
kind of
they
missed
were.
the mechanism of where the
Yeah,
snakes
so
were.
me and Ben talked about this a little bit, and like I vaguely remember like it blew out of a box, like it exploded out of a box inside
Right.
the airplane.
They sprayed the pheromones on the lays, right?
Yeah,
And then snakes.
I think
just
they
started,
were in the boxes with the lays.
Right. That's
Oh,
what
were
I
they in the
thought.
same boxes?
Yeah, I think they were.
I thought they were too, but then like huge ass snakes started like.
It's a big box.
Okay, this is Critical Mess. We're talking snakes on a plane. We are sponsored tonight by Pacifico Clara in a can,
Pacifica.
and we love it.
See, these are the kind of ad reads you'd get. If
I'm
you
gonna, you know what,
sponsor
guys,
us.
I'm gonna start writing some ad reads. I think we need to just up our game a little
Nick,
bit.
I
here.
would
Yeah.
love to hear
I'm gonna
Oh,
do it.
shit.
some
That
ad
would be
spots
great.
from you. Oh,
I'm gonna do it. Yeah, we're gonna sponsor one of these days somehow, guys. God willing. The music. I want to cover the music. What did we think of the music, guys? I thought it had actually kind of a important role to play in sort of the tonal stuff we've talked about in this movie. It was very cinematic,
Yeah.
dramatic, orchestral music. There wasn't like, I don't think, unless I missed it, hardly like any popular music.
Outside of the intro song, I couldn't have told you what the soundtrack was to this movie.
It was just all kind of, like poor man's Hans Zimmer
Yeah.
kind of.
well, Trevor
stuff.
Rabin is literally poor man's Hans
yeah.
Zimmer.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was way too melodramatic and Michael Bay. And remember that list of movies I read in tone? None of those movies had soundtracks like this. Those movies had more kind of like the Danny Elfman kind of like, I don't know, kind of more whimsical, sort of actiony vibes. And this was like melodramatic. Didn't like.
It was
Didn't match.
definitely interesting. It was notable. I honestly don't know how I felt about it. I thought it was kind of weird, but also just it was different for this kind of movie at least. So worth calling out. Another little thing I want to touch on. I kind of appreciated how dark this movie got, and I think that kind of maybe played into my score being higher than your guys's. This movie it went to some dark places, kind of.
Like, example.
A child suffering deeply.
Yeah.
I think there was several examples of that kind of thing or people, or another one was, or the dog thing, yeah, or when the staircase collapsed and everyone's trying to run upstairs and people are just getting impaled,
Yep.
by these, basically spikes and glass.
That was my
You
thing
know?
about the movie slightly getting better. It like almost kind of, it's like, all right, maybe this isn't a goofy movie. Maybe this is like a genuine, earnest suspense action thriller movie, because it kind of ended that way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I did not expect it to go there. I thought it was just going to turn into campy schlock that was like funny and fun, and no, it was like a dramatic movie.
It was kind of surprisingly dark,
Yeah,
I thought, in a lot of ways. So
I feel like the person who made the movie looked at the end result and went, "Oh, that's kind of not really what I meant to make, but okay."
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I would agree
But
with that for sure.
It exudes that.
So the stewardess, and I don't remember her name, but sort of the main stewardess that kind of just falls deeply in love with Samuel L. Jackson. Kind
Juliana
of about
Margulies.
2/3. Yeah, yes, about 2/3 through the film.
Chris.
Are we buying it? Are we buying
Chris,
it?
she was on the cover of Maxim back when I used to be a Maxim reader in like
A Maxim reader. This guy.
2001.
I know, that-
She was also the
I love that.
star,
Maxim reader.
Reader.
You got it for the articles, guys.
the star of
No.
ER.
Yeah.
Oh man,
She looks familiar. I couldn't tell you,
Yeah.
but not to be confused with a Maxim reader, not a Maxim looker.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I was a Maxim reader.
But guys, sidebar real quick. We're watching the plane land as Sam Jackson and Kenan Thompson are trying to land this plane. But a very quick scene after they busted the window open or the door open and all the snakes are flying out, it showed the guy fully inside the boa constrictor, fly out the window.
That was pretty fun. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, we are also coincidentally trying to land this plane. So, I think one. Oh yeah, no. Let's finish that thought though. Are we buying it? Julianne Margulies, deeply in love with Samuel L. Given his actions, buying or selling?
I'll buy it.
No.
I'm heavily buying.
Heavy buying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sell
heavy
it hard. No.
I think he's the hero. He's the badass. He saves the day. I mean, come on.
How do you not fall in love with Sam?
I fell in love with Sam, but I didn't buy her falling in love with Sam. So I don't know.
That's fair enough. That's 3 against 1 though. So
That's true.
I think my second favorite quote after the tie hooker thing was "Fuck Randy and his high score."
yeah, the brother. That
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah, that was fun. Keenan was fun.
Yeah, I liked Keenan.
Okay, so was it supposed to be surprising to us that Ken, the flight attendant, at the end was like had this hot girlfriend and was not gay? Like they were kind of like trying to build him up as like gay. That was just a weird.
That was a distasteful like attempt to subvert expectations just because.
Horrible.
Yeah.
F minus on that.
Hard
attempt.
pass.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was
No
bad.
pass.
I will just say this. We don't need to get into this, but I will say that I do like the concept that I almost hate to say this because I feel like I'm going to catch flack, especially from you, Grizz. I don't know why, but I
My
just see
eyes
the
are
look in
wide
your
open
eyes right
waiting.
now. I do respect the concept of an effeminate man not being gay because I feel like those things are always conflated. And it's like, just because you aren't the most hypermasculine man in the world, why does that always play into sexual orientation? So maybe we just leave that there.
In
you
my
know?
experience, some of the more effeminate, more metro guys, they tend to have the most attractive women.
That's my point, and that's why I don't think they did it well.
It was
I
executed.
I
very
do
poorly.
like that he just wasn't like, well, he's gay and he's just completely gay and he's a gay man and yada yada yada. Like it's like
They tried something.
That's what they do in Michael Bay movies. It's like, oh, you're the
Sure.
gay guy, you're the black guy, you're
right.
the with this guy, and it's
Yeah.
like at least he wasn't gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. I'm just saying like.
They didn't play so
I was
hard
thinking
into
Seinfeld.
that.
Yeah,
I know. That's what I
Not that there's anything wrong
I
with
just
that.
hate when they just over caricaturize a gay person because like it's
Yeah.
like the spectrum of effeminate masculine is a whole complex thing and it does not necessarily play into your orientation. I hate how people simplify all that. It's much more
Yeah,
complex.
it was just
Yeah.
it didn't.
So
didn't-
good for them at least for that.
They tried
Yeah,
something.
Is that
but
what is that forward thinking for 2006? For them to try that out?
Yeah, and that's probably why they thought it was going to be such a subversion of expectations, and maybe it was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Brian, I bet you were especially pissed off about that final jump scare.
Yeah.
That
I
just
didn't want to say
that just
anything.
get your goat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of really the only straight ahead jump scare in the movie that I remember.
There was another one where Samuel L. is gonna go hit that breaker or something, and some wires fall on him. It's very cheap
Okay.
jump scare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked a lot about that in the last episode, so I didn't feel. But yes, thank you. I did roll my eyes hard at that.
All right, I've just got one or two more things, but something I think I got to bring up. This was noted on the Wikipedia page about this movie, but this is a quote from Samuel L. Jackson, from the real Samuel L. Jackson, not the actor in this film. The only reason I took this movie, the title, and I think this goes back to something we said toward the start of this episode about this just being a expertly titled film. And he did take this movie with not seeing a script, not knowing what other actors are attached to it or director. He was like, I like the title, and I'm going to ride with it.
Yeah, you can tell.
Do you guys like when movies are sort of described completely by their titles?
Yes.
Or do you like more when it's nebulous, like The Matrix? Where you're
No,
like, what the hell
well,
is
I think
this?
both can work. I think both can
Yeah,
work.
I think both can work.
Oh, there it is. We almost made it.
I know. We almost
Holy
did.
shit, how far did we
I got more.
get?
I got more.
Buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy.
Man,
Because
we got an
Kansas is
hour
going bye-bye.
20 in for a Matrix
love it.
mention. We almost did it, guys.
That was a good one.
Someday we'll do
Thanks.
it. Someday we'll do it.
Christmas present to us from Brian.
So you do like this is the movie. Like,
I just like smart titles.
well, sure,
And I think,
yeah.
and I think both ways can be a smart title.
Mhm,
I guess.
Okay, fair enough.
Just like Final Destination. I think that's another.
Yeah,
That's a smart title.
Agreed.
In a little bit of a different way.
Yeah, I like a smart title like that rather than just in your face. But this movie also was just all in your face, so it had to have that.
Well, I think that actually was kind of like the sort of the tone of the title very much parallels the tone of the film. It's just very it's very face value. What you see is what you get.
You know what word I hate in a movie title? The word love. There are so many movies with the word love.
What's the first one that pops to mind?
Love Actually.
I know, me too.
I don't know why.
So what other ones?
Love and
Drunk
Other
Love?
Drugs.
Yeah.
Just watch that. It's terrible, terrible, terrible movie. Eat, Pray, Love. I Love You, Man. I don't know. Just stop it.
Yeah.
Probably a movie called Love. It's probably a tennis-themed romantic comedy.
Could you?
What was that Paul Bettany one? The tennis movie?
Wimbledon?
Woody Allen? No.
Love on the Court.
It sucked. Whatever.
Courtney
it was.
Love.
Borg versus McEnroe, or whatever it was.
Anyway, sorry.
Match Point.
Match Point.
Everyone loved it too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't even
No,
mean to do that.
I, you're fine.
But anywho,
Stop putting love in your title, people.
this is I think the last thing I want to bring up, and I think this is a really interesting thing, and that's we touched on a little bit earlier how the power of the internet and the marketing for this movie, and how this is one of the first movies to really harness the power of the internet. Actually, another movie we talked about that harnessed the power of the internet before this movie was Blair Witch Project, which kind of did it in an even earlier, sort of more nascent stage of the internet. The internet was a little more developed at this point in time, but still, people were kind of figuring out the marketing, and this movie really nailed the internet marketing. And I think one thing that is really interesting about this is how the sort of production went back and forth with the community about how to make the film better, or what they wanted, what the people wanted to see in the movie. Which seems kind of rare, and the kind of the main result of that, which was a very intentional thing, and I wonder if this has ever happened again in the history of cinema. I'm sure it has, but I couldn't tell you an example. They did reshoots of this movie. They did 5 days of reshoots of this movie, and based on fan feedback from test audiences, and I think some feedback via internet, and they were specifically trying to make this movie rated R instead of PG-13. They did reshoots to bump this movie up from a PG-13 to an R, and it seems like obviously
That's got to be internet fueled. That is.
Oh, it totally is.
Ridiculous.
But how many times has that happened in the opposite direction? I mean, hundreds
Oh,
or thousands of times.
No, absolutely.
That's always happening
That's always
perpetually.
but how many times has it happened in the other direction? I very rarely. So that's just really interesting. I thought that they specifically wanted this movie to be rated R and did reshoots to make this movie R.
And you know what? I fucking hate that because I have always been a fan of the soft R movie, and the reason being that movie could have so easily been made PG-13, but the reason it's R is because there was something artistic that would have been lost if it went from the R to the PG-13. I think like Oppenheimer's a good example. Movies like that. But for a movie to be PG-13 and bump to an R artificially, I mean, that is just like the lowest of the low. That is bullshit.
Yeah, that's I can't.
That is
I
just
strongly
terrible.
agree with that. I think it was. I did not know that about this film, but
Can I ask? I think this could be a fun icebreaker. If anything comes to mind, but just beg the question what you said. I mean, what movie comes to mind as like the softest R?
Ooh.
And I'll give one real quick. If you don't come up with anything great, how about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Yeah, that's a great example. Ooh, a nice little through line too.
Yeah.
I realized that was R.
I did not know that was an R.
It is because of the one. I mean, he says "fuck" like 10 times or
Yeah.
12
Holy
times
cow.
or something, and that's it. That's literally it.
I
And
just
it's-
love that because that is a director just not bowing down to studio pressure. That's
Yeah,
what that
yeah.
is. And that's a sign that if they didn't bow down then, what else did they not give in to?
So it now in 2023, I know back then it's a little bit different because they had to worry about box office and getting humans in seats, and you're going to get less humans in seats because they have to be 18 or older, 17 or older. So nowadays, you don't necessarily have that barrier between a kid or a teenager and watching a rated R movie on Netflix, HBO Max, Peacock, all these streaming services. Do you think they now have that in mind, that they don't really give a shit whether it's PG-13 or rated R because they know that a larger sample size of people are going to watch it?
No, they care.
I think they definitely still care. Yeah. I think there was a.
That's the reason Deadpool wasn't, or they were pushing for Deadpool to be PG-13.
I knew they were doing that, but that was also, I mean, when did that come out? 2018,
18, 17, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I think it's strange that, we just looked at, what were you looking up, Nick?
I was one that came to mind that we had talked about was The Gray Man.
It was rated R or PG-13?
It was PG-13.
Yeah, PG-13.
And I felt like they were really trying to
they were
toe
on the line
there
of that, yeah.
That movie had a couple of sort of sequences that felt R-rated to me.
Yeah.
Not the least of which was the fingernail pulling off
Oh,
stuff. That
brutal.
was rough.
Yeah, and then the final fight scene was pretty brutal too.
Yeah,
Just
it was a lot
fist
for
fight.
PG-13. It was.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with one. Nothing's coming to mind off the top of my head here.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I just thought that was an interesting thought. But okay, well, guys, I mean, I think we pretty much, crossfired or slow burn the shit out of that. Or you know what? Actually, we've got one more topic to cover, and that's this music video that's playing during the final sequence here. What is going on with here? On with this here?
Yeah, we're watching the credits, and there's a music video going on in the back at the end of the film. I actually turned this movie off so fast, I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah.
Same.
No, I didn't. I stayed and watched the
I
whole
felt
thing.
like a movie like this was gonna have something in the credits.
I would have rather have seen a comedic outtakes than I would a stupid music video for some band I've never heard of.
My note was music video in credits? ? Sucks. SUX. So that's how I felt about it. But yeah, really weird and bad. Like it should have been what was the Triple G song?
Yeah,
Watch the booty go,
Yeah,
or
drop that booty.
booty
down.
go thump.
Okay.
Booty go
Booty
thump.
go thump. Give me play booty go thump.
Yeah, I'd much rather see
Please
booty
give
go
me
thump.
booty go
Anyway.
thump.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I agree. I was like, what? Why? Is this a joke?
Yeah.
Is this like Flight of the Conchords? Is what I thought it was at first. Some sort of a band like that. Like, is this like a
Yeah,
parody
it was
band?
a very weird, another tonal, strange choice.
Weird.
Anyway, okay, I think we've slow burned that plenty. So now we're just gonna do the outro here. If you made it this far, you're a saint and a scholar and a gentleman, or a queen among queens.
If you made it this far,
Princesses?
find Nick in public, and he will give you $10.
No, I don't carry cash. No.
Venmo.
So anyways, thank you all for listening. We have a lot of fun doing this, and hopefully you have fun listening. We are going to do another episode, and this one we're actually we're doing another kind of horror adjacent thing, and I swear we're going to get off the horror tip before too long here. But this one just seemed like an interesting one that we might have some fun with, and that is Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't really know what that means or
FNAF.
what that is.
FNAF to the cool hip kids.
Right, but this movie is so big and popular
No,
that
the
it
game.
has its own game. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. I don't
It's
know
a
what
game.
it is. Are we reviewing a game?
Well, kind of.
Kind of.
I wish, actually. The game's better than the movie. Oh, sorry, spoilers. Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's is a game. It's a whole franchise.
Okay, I don't know what it is. But
And
then
they-
again, I'm not 7.
They just made it into a movie that is day and date on Peacock and also theater. It's like in its 3rd or 4th week now. It made $80 million in the theater its first week, despite also being day and date on Peacock. So I think it merits some discussion.
It's a big deal,
Yeah.
and I'm willing to give it a chance and talk about it. And that's exactly what we're going to do here next time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're on social media. It's at
Let's get another tet.
we're on social media. It's at Instagram.com.
Instagram.com.
You can find us at http://www.instagram.com/criticalmesscrew.
Crew.
That's where you'll find us. And yeah, we're gonna keep doing this because we have fun doing it, and we hope you like it too. And we'll see you guys next time.
See
Later.
ya.
You stepped on each other. Let's get it clean.
Later.
Nah.
And we'll
Fuck
see
it.
you next time.
See ya.
Later.
Peace.